Clare made heavy weather of that victory over Laois, which ended up being 17 points to 9 at Cusack Park. Arguably the game never should have went ahead if other games on the west coast were called off due to an orange weather warning. Maybe that should have been two, but I suppose for Brian Lohan he's happy enough to get another win on the board because there's nothing like momentum to get the team going. You'd have to say there's often this cliche about the worse the weather, the more it suits the underdog or what have you. But I think at times like whichever team is more skillful tends to sort of excel as the game goes on, and I think Clare probably had more skill than Laois, who looked a little bit limited at times during this game. Not at all times and not every player, but a couple of guys did. That's not helped by the fact that they have a few guys injured. I suppose Mark Cavan is an obvious one that comes to mind. Another couple of lads went off during the game. Stephen Bergen, who was up front, being one of those. So that's obviously not ideal for them. But just looking at some of the trends of the game, Laois very much even struggled to get on even to take shots from play in the first half. They had seven shots in total during that first half, and actually scored 4 of them. Now only 2 shots from play, scored 1, but they were lucky to go in 9-4 down at half time because Clare had the wind. Really should have made more of it, especially with scoring your first 5 attempts at goal to go 5-1 up. Tony Kelly very influential from the start in terms of frees, just getting on the ball throughout the game, scoring from play. Aaron Cunningham started well with a point from the sideline on his left hand side, had another fairly identical effort a few minutes later and very much faded out of the game after that. You'd have to say that the inside lines for both teams really struggled to get into the game throughout this. It was only when Aron Shanagher came in the last, let me see how long he came on for. He came on for about the last 25 minutes plus injury time. He changed the game, scored 2 points straight away, won a brilliant high ball and fed Podge Collins, who also came on, and Podge Collins looked like it should have been a penalty, ended up being a free. But Aron Shanagher, like, he burst on the scene there, was it 3 years ago, possibly even 4 at this point now, when he played really well against Tipperary in a league quarter final or something like that, against Colbert I think that day. But he's the one who's put his hand up more than anyone. And just, surprise, a brute of a man, and he can't hurl. But like a physical specimen like him, guy very aggressive, runs at the defender, comes on and does well on a horrible day for hurling. Surprise. You kind of wonder why Brian Lohan put so many of small diminutive players out there. I mean, some of them have speed, some of them are very effective on other days, but like in the first half, David Reedy very quiet, Shane Amori very quiet, Ryan Taylor very quiet, and there is an element that when you're playing with the wind you do get shoved further up the field, and we talked about this with the Dublin Carlow match on Saturday night. So maybe there was less space because they were all getting shoved up into the field and compressed on each other. Reedy had a good second half. Ian Galvin came in and had a good game as well. So maybe the fact that Laois kind of pushed up a small bit with the wind in the second half, the way that happens, it meant there was more space to exploit in behind. I'm interested to see how the spine of this team for Clare evolves, because it's a bit like the way Galway had swapped in recent games. They'd swapped Adrian Toohey out from corner back and Sean Loftus from midfield back there. So there was a similar sort of swap between midfield and the full back line for Clare, which is Shane Golden, who we've, over the last 6 or 7 years that has been involved, he's after going to fullback, and David McInerney, who was fullback for a similar amount of time, he's gone in midfield, and you can see why you put him there. He's athletic, he's combative, he can hurl, hits a brilliant sideline, which is, nice little addition to have as well, especially if he can do it further up the field. And he assisted one great scoring chance. I think possibly that one for, it was for Aaron Cunningham, getting that wide early in the first half. Beautiful sideline into space for the man. But the spine, so it's Shane Golden, Cathal Malone, who we've seen at wing-back and midfield before, then a good midfield of David McInerney and Tony Kelly, David Fitzgerald, who got injured at centre forward again, and obviously Shane O'Donnell, Aaron Cunningham and Ryan Taylor were played inside or kind of floating in around those areas. Didn't really work for any of the three of them. But if that spine, which you'd imagine Shanagher would have a fair chance of putting himself in there, and obviously John Conlon is one who's certainly going to be in the mix for up there. But they have a couple of powerful options up there, which is no harm. I think Golden fullback wasn't tested whatsoever. I mean, there was no real ball going in for Ross King to work with. we'll say, inside the 21. So Golden wasn't really tested, did what it was asked of him, no doubt about that, but wasn't really tested. Malone the same. I mean, very much as a spine of a defence, a bit like Cork. They're trying something out, and at this point you can't really judge a whole pile. I mean, it's just too early. Aidan McCarthy at wing back, he looks like a decent option. Again, it's just hard to say on a day like this. Stephen O'Halloran, probably a bit unproven in the other wing backs, but we'll see over time. Liam Corey in the corner. Overall, still a reliance on Tony Kelly. Light lads not really getting stuck in on a dirty day, which is kind of a story as old as time. For Laois, all those injuries definitely not helping things. Missed 3 or 4 goal chances when they were 10 points to 5 behind, and started the second half. They got the first score through Ross King free. Clare went the other end and got a point through McMahon, but then there was like Keys had a goal chance and he hit it at the keeper. Willie Dunphy pulled it at the keeper as well, and Keys had kind of butchered, like he caught a nice ball, butchered the hand pass behind Paddy Purcell, and Purcell would have been in 1-on-1 and odds on to score there. And if it went to 1-5 to 10 points, could be a bit of a shock on, but maybe Clare would have responded anyway. The way they finished the game and the fact that they took a grand total of 34 shots to Laois's 22 kind of tells you they probably would have had enough in the tank to respond no matter what. But then the other chance was long ball in from, well, it was probably a pointed attempt from Keys out on the right wing, and it dropped short for Stephen Bergen, who tried to flick at it, flicked it wide, and Bergen got a nasty looking knee injury. Looked like a very deep cut in around his knee. You'd wonder how that happened. Was there a loose nail or something like that, or the end of the hoop, or band as some people call it? Did that clip him on the knee? But he had to go off, and if he's out for an extended period of time or any length of time, that's tough on Laois because numbers will be a little bit thin. But yeah, that's about the height of it. Pretty easy going for Clare. They made hard weather of it for a while, no pun intended, but definitely going to be bigger tests than that. But for Laois, lose by 8 points away to a team that's obviously operating at a higher level for a long time. It's not the worst performance in the world, just probably looking a little bit limited at times. And to be fair, like it's not like they left a host of scores behind them. Yes, I haven't named out a few scores. There's probably a few frees they could have got too, by the way. But in the first half to score 4 of 7, that was fairly economical. And just after that, if the goal chances went in, would have been closer. But yeah, not a bad performance. But let me know what you think. Thanks for watching Our Game. Don't forget to like and share the videos, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe.